This controversial leader of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, who was expected to land in Israel on Sunday for a 4-day trip, marking the first visit by a Philippine president since the two countries established diplomatic ties way back in 1957. Why controversial? Well, here's a snippet of some of his past statements that have raised eyebrows and dropped jaws around the world.
Hitler massacred 3 million Jews. Now, there's a 3 million drug addicts. There are. I'd be happy to slaughter them. Genocide. Imbento na sa isang babae na gusto mag-suicide. I must admit that a third of the killings really happened during police encounters. But in Davao, I used to do it personally, just to show to the guys that if I can do it, why can't you? That will be 6 years from now, until the last pusher and the last drug lord are...
Wow, I'll start with you, Ksenia. You know, this is a guy who, as we saw, lightly mentions massacring drug users the same way that Hitler killed Jews. I mean, how do you feel about this visit?
Well, I can tell you that, you know, just linking the previous topic, that while we're all united in our despised Jeremy Corbyn and his lookalikes and the things he said, and we are boycotting him and his party, and, you know, it's all clear. But guys like Duterte are visiting Israel by official invitation from our country, and, you know, and the sky doesn't fall. So what about this hypocrisy, I want to know, you know? So I think that sometimes it seems to me that, you know, anti-Semitism became kind of a political card for some politicians specifically in Likud party, who see no harm in meeting the worst kind of neo-Nazis and anti-Semites whom they invite to visit Israel. Every year people come here from the Flemish ultra-nationalist party, neo-Nazi party. This is how it's regarded by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. People are coming to visit, you know, to meet people from the Liberty Party of Austria, whose members are singing the neo-Nazi hymns and songs. So while, you know, we are all united by our, you know, negative attitude towards, you know, Corbyn and other, you know, anti-Semites from the ranks of the liberals, so let's not forget about the horrific anti-Semitism and racism that is very vast in the ultra-right parties and governments around the world. Israel government should have a clear policy about that. I am supposed to also summon a meeting in the Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee, which I'm a member of, in the moment that we will resume our work in the Knesset in the mid of October to discuss this situation. It's, I think it's a disgrace for our state that such a man is visiting here. So,
you know, he's going to also dedicate a Holocaust memorial in a city just south of here called Rishon LeZion. Is it right for a head of state who actually wants to compared himself to Hitler to do that, Adi?
Well, without defending his words, I think he's a very colorful and unique person. But these are clearly not anti-Semitic remarks. I mean, what he wanted to say is not that he's going to kill Jews or something. He supposedly wanted to say that he is very brutal and he's going to be very strong towards drug dealers. But generally speaking, I think that
there are thousands of people who have been killed in the Philippines. He's been critiqued around the world. It's not that he's just colorful and unique. Let's not.
Right. But states have to deal with. I mean, we have to deal with Vladimir Putin, who is not the nicest person.
Do we have to deal with Rodrigo Duterte? He's not a superpower.
We have to deal with Abu Mazen, for example, who wrote his thesis on the fact. Who wrote his. You know, just 3 months ago, he said that Jews are to blame for the Holocaust, which is much more offensive than the fact that the Philippine leader is going to kill.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a very appropriate...
Okay. Well, Daniel, I think what Ksenia was saying there is just, it's not only Duterte, it's a lot of people that Benjamin Netanyahu and the coalition are meeting with and having ties with.
Well, we don't get to choose who the leader of other countries are. What we do have to choose is the interest that we have. Now, Mogherini herself, she's
so then does it mean that we will also okay Corbyn the minute that he will become prime minister?
Well,
this is what I want to know.
We'll have to
because you know, if you don't get to choose the leaders, so then Hamas is okay and Nazis are okay and everybody is okay.
Look, people meet with Assad, and Israelis have met with Yasser Arafat, who had more blood on his hands than anybody else in the world except for Hitler. So Jewish blood.
no European leader.
With Yasser Arafat, didn't we have a conflict that we are obliged to solve and to find a solution for that? This is really not a comparison that I think anybody would like to make.
I'm surprised. It's a bit naive to think that Israel can refuse when we're a small country and we have international forces operating against us, and we have interests that we want to advance. I don't see the Europeans in any way feeling that they have, shying away from Iran, who's the most murderous regime in the world today, and they're attacking Saudi Arabia, and they're attacking Iraq, and not to mention attacking Israel. But still, the Europeans
find enough time to sit down with them. Saudi Arabia is one of the most murderous regimes in the world today. But okay.
But that's the whole thing. You have to deal with him. He's the chosen leader of the Philippines, just like the American president went with the leader of North Korea. You have interests. You want to advance those interests. It's political. It's economic. It benefits the country. And I'm sure that if Corbyn unfortunately will be elected Prime Minister of
also the South African leaders were united leaders. Also, the South African leaders were united leaders. However, world boycotted them, rightfully so. We had shameful ties between Israel and South Africa for a long time, also as we had with the Junta in Argentina.
True, by the way. This was propaganda.
So I think that we should learn something from history and refrain from this.
No, it did not. It did not. It did not. If you check on Mida, we have a whole
Israel now sells weapons to Burma.
This was exaggerated in order. We had much less. Israel had much less ties than many of the European countries who were the first people attacking us.
I'll let Adi wrap it up. I mean, when Duterte meets with Netanyahu and he's going to shake hands with President Rivlin, it's going to be broadcast all over the world. Does that hurt Israel's image at all?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that people know these things, and I don't think that there's any country on earth that is choosing who to visit or not to visit according to their human rights. That would be a whole different thing.
Embraced Chavez, who was a murderous lunatic himself.
There's many countries in Africa that you don't want to look at their record, etc. It's a problem, but that's what
Ksenia, last 30 seconds to you. 30 seconds.
Yeah. So I think that it's crazy that we're even having this conversation, and somebody is justifying, okaying, the mass murders of other people. Because when we were murdered, of course, there was outcry of nobody's helping us, and nobody. Abu Mazen is not our friend. Come on, we have to solve a land conflict with him.
Okay.
We are obliged to do that. Okay, he's not our friend in any case. But here you will hear from Benjamin Netanyahu. Dithyrambics that he will be singing to Duterte and to other people, even they are mass murderers such as in Burma, for example, and sell them weapons. And like there was no Holocaust, like there was no... Yes.
Okay, that's all the time we have.